Hey there, I'm going to read Oliver Jeffers' This Moose Belongs to Me. Wilfred owned a moose. He hadn't always owned a moose. The moose came to him a while ago and he knew, just knew, that it was meant to be his. He thought he would call him Marcel. He began following Marcel, explaining the rules of how to be a good pet. Much of the time, it seemed as though the moose wasn't listening, but Wilfred knew he was, mostly because he followed Rule 4, not making much noise while Wilfred plays his record collection. Sometimes the moose wasn't a very good pet. He generally ignored Rule 7, going whichever way Wilfred wants to go. The moose had a very good sense of direction, and Wilfred, he didn't. And because the moose was particularly poor on Rule 7, subsection B, maintaining a certain proximity to home, Wilfred quickly learned he had to take some string with him on his outings so he could find his way home again. Sometimes, just sometimes, the moose was an excellent pet. He had no trouble with Rule 11, which was providing shelter from the rain. Or Rule 16, knocking down things that were out of Wilfred's reach. One day, as Wilfred discussed their plans for the coming year on a particularly long walk, he made a terrible, terrible discovery. Somebody else thought they owned the moose! Rodrigo, you're back! Wilfred was dumbstruck. The moose was Marcel, not Rodrigo. The old lady was mistaken, and Wilfred, he thought it was only the right thing to do. He corrected her. This moose belongs to me, he explained. And to prove it, he called Marcel. Marcel! The moose didn't respond. He seemed more interested in the old lady. Embarrassed and enraged, Wilfred rushed off for home. But in his haste, and miles away from anywhere, he tripped over his string and he got tangled up. And there he lay. Wilfred was beginning to get a little bit worried. It was past home time now, and the monsters would be out soon. He had just ruled out the last of his options. Tried to cut down a tree, maybe try and untangle himself, anything. When along came the moose. And he performed Rule 73 brilliantly, rescuing your owner from perilous situations. All was forgiven. And perhaps, Wilfred admitted, he'd never really owned the moose anyway. And with that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules, whenever it suited him. Hope you enjoyed.